Physical reality organizes itself not as a linear timeline, but as a recursive, scale-invariant topology known as a memory tesseract. This structure is defined by the DCU topological operator, a sequence that progresses from a seed state through differentiation and integration toward fruit-like closure. This image of the M87 black hole represents more than a visual phenomenon. The sequence maps directly to the nonlinear differential equations governing relativistic physics. Within this framework, gravitational collapse is an information processing engine executing a specific recursive code. The model begins at the asymptotic boundary, a starting coordinate infinitely far from the gravitational center, which we designate as the seed. This seed holds the initial quantum state psi, or mass m, entering the system. We trace this state using a maximally extended Penrose diagram. This map allows us to follow the DCU sequence layer by layer across the entire causal structure of spacetime. From this asymptotic edge, the seed begins an irreversible descent toward the singularity. Tracking how quantum information avoids deletion requires following this seed through 4 specific topological gates. The first gate is the outer event horizon, the null surface where the Schwarzschild radius dictates the boundary of the observable. Evaluated in Painlevé-Gullstrand coordinates, the time derivative here diverges, while the proper time for the seed remains finite. This boundary represents the D10, or differentiation gate of the DCU. Differentiation manifests physically as Hawking pair production, the seed state splitting into an escaping particle and an infalling partner. The outer horizon serves as a sorting membrane, forcing the first topological split and pushing the data deeper into the mechanism. We move inward to a radius of 3m, the Photon Sphere. This region corresponds to the tree phase, the active buffer operator within the sequence. Here, at the Causal Bifurcation sphere, light cones tilt past the vertical, effectively narrowing the set of possible future trajectories. The Photon Sphere functions as a traversal operator, dividing paths between escape and capture, and driving the seed toward total integration. The track reaches the inner Cauchy horizon, a zone of theoretical instability within the black hole's interior. At this boundary, Weyl curvature diverges, creating the infinite tidal shear first theorized by Roger Penrose. This is the I9 state, the integration gate. The geometry here induces infinite blue shift. As this integral shows, the infalling history of the universe accumulates simultaneously at this horizon. The inner horizon terminates classical causality, transitioning the system from physical differentiation into the infinite mathematical storage of the wave state. The seed arrives at the singularity, the space-like limit of a Schwarzschild hole, or the time-like ring of a Kerr hole. This extremity is governed by the Bekenstein-Hawking entropy formula, marking the saturation limit of the field equations. This is the 7, or fruit phase of the DCU. At this coordinate, energy density hits the Planck limit. The singularity functions as a high-density compression phase, preserving the seed as a fully entangled quantum instruction set. While singularities are often viewed as terminal sinks, the DCU model suggests a path for information recovery. The return phase is executed via Einstein-Rosen bridges, wormholes that connect the interior state to a new asymptotic exterior. Inside the horizon, the Wheeler-DeWitt constraint requires space and time to swap roles, turning the accumulated history into a structural Hamiltonian constraint. The seed exits through Hawking evaporation. The island formula allows us to track this information recovery as the black hole radiates its mass over time. The model concludes with the fruit re-emerging as the seed, forming a theoretical framework for gravitational collapse as a closed recursive loop. This topology is conditional. The final outcome depends on the specific dynamics of the collapse. We can contrast the Wright-Choudhury equation, where geodesics converge to a point, with systems that maintain non-zero angular momentum. This maps to the scriptural 1912 activation. In this model, the input of specific structural orientation, information, corresponds to the maintenance of angular momentum. If that rotation is maintained, a centrifugal barrier forms, resisting the inward pull of gravity. This barrier halts the collapse at fusion equilibrium, translating the preservation of the entangled instruction set into the ignition of a star. the stability of the output is determined by the initial orientation. When coherence is maintained through the descent, nothingness is forced to produce light.